Well, good morning, guys. It's day 2 of instruments, and sorry my hair's a mess. We've had marching band, and it just never works well in the fall. So anyway, today, I told you guys on Friday that we were going to put our instruments together, and that is the case. We're going to do that. Now, we're not going to play on the whole thing yet. We're getting there. We got to build these muscles before we get to the whole thing, but I know you can't wait to get the whole thing together and start doing it when I'm not around. I remember those days. So let's kind of go through the steps. Number 1, take your reed out of your reed guard. Remember, everybody should have one of these, a 4 reed holder reed guard, sorry. A reed guard that holds 4 reeds. There, that sounds better. Take your reed out and soak it. Put it in your mouth. If you ask which side, the tip. Okay, this is the butt. The fat part's the butt. We had some giggles about that the other day, but that's really what it's called, the butt of the reed. Okay, so put that in your mouth. Okay, step number 1 after you get that in your mouth is we don't start assembling the clarinet. I got to go over some things real quick first. Get ahead of myself. Take your cork grease. It's a tube of chapstick, but it's not chapstick. Trust me, it doesn't work. And if you've got a new clarinet or brand new corks, you want to take this, and I just dropped it. Hold on. I'm back. Take this, and you're going to rub it around your cork. Now, I'm not going to do all my corks because my clarinet is old, and the cork grease has rubbed in really well. I'm going to take my reed out so I can talk better too. It's rubbed in really well, so I don't have to do all my corks. Once your new corks get used to having cork grease on them, they'll loosen up a little bit, and your clarinet will be easier to assemble. All right, so grease all your corks. You've got 1 on the lower joint, you've got 2 on your middle joint, and you've got your mouthpiece cork too. Now, we did that Friday, so that should still be done. Now, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take the back of your hand, and you're going to, when you get your clarinet out, you're going to stick your finger in and pull this up from the case, and you're going to hold it here so that you're not really touching the metal. Okay, guys? These are metal keys, and mine's got a little bit of a reinforcement bar, and some of them do and some of them don't. This is kind of a newer feature what they've done within the last, I don't know, 5-8 years or so. So not everybody has them, but you're going to try not to touch the keys, because if we start to squeeze the keys, they could bend and get out of alignment, and that's going to cause playing problems, and we don't want that. Okay, not when we're just ever really, but we're just still learning, and so we've got to make sure we take care of it. So you're going to try to hold just the wood of your clarinet. Okay, then I'm going to take my second piece, and that's my middle joint. Now remember, we went over the pieces the other day, so watch the first video if you don't remember. So here's my middle joint. Middle joint's got 2 corks on it. See? There's your bottom cork down here, and then here's your top cork. And you're going to grab it where your fingers are covering these holes, because you got a little, see if I can do this where you can see it. See that little wiggly thing right there? That's part of the bridge assembly, and everyone's bridge assembly looks a little different depending on the brand and model of your clarinet. For instance, my other clarinet doesn't look quite like this. It looks a little different. All right, the other part of the bridge is right here, and so what you're going to do is you're going to take the middle piece where you're holding these keys, so the bridge part is up. That's down. We want it up. Here, there's some white back there, so up, down. We want it up. And we're going to take them and we're going to gently twist, or maybe not so gently, because if it's stiff cork, you got to use a little bit of muscle, but you're going to try to grab the wood and push them together. Okay, so when that happens, what we're looking for is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes lined up. Now I'm going to back up a little bit because I realized I forgot to put the bell on. The first thing you should do is get the bell, and same thing, twist and push onto the lower joint. Forgot that. It's not that big a deal. All right, so twist and push onto the lower joint. Sometimes even us old people forget to do things. All right, so there it is. So we've got it mostly assembled, and something I want you to be careful of. You've got some keys right here, the side keys on either side of the clarinet. If you're not watching what you're doing and you don't kind of get these bridge keys I talked about lined up when you're pushing your clarinet together, then these keys could travel over here, and they're not out of a line of each other. And I've had several kids, many years of teaching, get these keys touching, and they get out of a line and they get bent, and the clarinet doesn't play very well. So be careful to make sure that these 4 keys and these 3 keys right here don't touch each other ever. All right, now this is hard to see, but my bridge is aligned. And in class, I'll go over and show each one of you individually how to line your bridge up, because it's really hard to see on the video. I get that, so don't worry too much about it. But your bridge keys are lined up, and okay, you can kind of see right there. from that side and that angle that they're lined up and they're not out of alignment. They can, if you're out of alignment, that's what that looks like. If they're in alignment, that's what it looks like right there. Okay, and then your holes where your fingers go are lined up there. Okay, next step. You're holding your clarinet. Make sure your hands are touching wood, not mostly metal, wood. You're gonna get the barrel. Remember, it's shaped like a whiskey or an olive barrel. That's why it's called that. And then yours have little metal, they're called tenon rings right there. Mine doesn't, it should. It's just a different design. Don't worry about it. All right, take that and again, twist and push and twist and push. And if it's really stiff, your corks are new, you might need more cork, or you might just need to let the cork kind of relax a little bit. So don't worry too much about that. If you can't get it, I'll help you a couple times in class. I can show you some tricks, but just twist and push, and don't be scared to use a little bit of elbow grease. If you think you're gonna break your clarinet, stop, let me look at it, and then we can get that fixed. Okay, so the last step. Now you still have your reeds soaking in your mouth. I don't, just because I'm talking. But in class, I'll kind of do that. Oh, and I have a mouthpiece cap now too. We talked about that. Always keep your mouthpiece cap on your mouthpiece. It protects your mouthpiece and your reed. If these guys drop, they can and usually will break. And you don't want to have to spend $100 or $200. Mine, this is a $200 mouthpiece. You don't want to buy a new $200 mouthpiece. You don't. Okay? All right, so here goes. So we're going to put this thingy on. We're going to line it up. Now, this part is the back of the clarinet. You've got, this is called the register key, this is the thumb hole, and this is the thumb rest. Don't confuse the thumb hole and the thumb rest, okay? And then you're gonna take, we talked about the facing of the mouthpiece. It's gonna line up in a line with the register key, the thumb hole, and the thumb rest on the back of the clarinet. See that? Isn't that cool? Works pretty good. And then we're going to put our reed on our mouthpiece, which we did in class on Friday, but I'm just going to go over again. Remember, don't touch your tips of the reed. It's really delicate, and your reeds are going to wear out really fast because you're still getting used to it. Sorry, mom and dad, they're going to break a lot of reeds this first month or two. Sorry, it's just how it happens. Okay, so try to use your see if I can do this where you can see what, okay, that's kind of there. Use your fingers to touch like the sides, we call them the rails of the reed, and the butt. And then you're going to get it positioned to where it's straight up and down. And then the ligature is about half an inch below the U part, the parabola of the reed. I drew a really great picture on the board for your kids. Just ask them. I'm an artist. All right, so there we go. That's what that looks like. And then you're going to tighten your screw. Most of your screws are going to be on this side of your ligature. I just have a different ligature. There's lots of different ligatures. They don't all look the same. And this is a leather ligature. It's a little bit better than what comes with your clarinet, but it's not something you have to have unless you get super advanced. All right, so you're going to tighten it. If it starts to tighten and it gets to where it's squeaking and it's stopping, loosen it a half a turn or so, because you can tear and break your screw heads. You don't want to do that. You can get new ligatures. The stock ones are about $7 to $10 at Tatum, American Band. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time since I've had to buy one. It's about $7 to $10. And then here's your clarinet all put together. Okay, now, next thing, make a C with your left hand. And then a backward C with your right hand. This is good hand position. You're going to take your right hand and look at your thumb, and you're going to line it up just like that underneath the thumb rest. You see that? So my thumbnail's about halfway underneath that. Now this is my right hand under the thumb rest. And then these fingers, I call them 4, 5, and 6. They're going to control buttons 4, 5, and 6, or holes. And then this pinky is going to control these keys. Top row, bottom row, T1, T2, B1, B2. That's my numbering system to kind of help you. Now, make a C with your left hand. Take your thumb, and you're going to put your thumb right here. Now notice, it's hard to see, but my thumb is touching the register key and covering the thumb hole at the same time. And we're going to number these fingers. 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm covering holes. I'm not touching these little metal parts. I'm just covering the holes. This pinky hovers here and it controls these 1, 2, 3, 4 keys. So that's hand position. And so what we're going to do every day when we put our clarinet together, we're going to do, I had a, one of the guys I taught with called it Finger Aerobics. And so we're going to do Finger Aerobics. And so we're just going to start moving our fingers up and down on the clarinet. Okay, that's all you're gonna do. And so we're gonna watch them. We're not gonna play the whole clarinet today. I know you wanna. I know you will at home when I'm not around. Shh, don't tell me. Okay, so thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pinkies, and we're just gonna lift them up one at a time in order. And that's gonna get our muscles to start working on fingers. Now, I told you we were gonna put our clarinet together in 3 stages. So the first stage we did Friday, I called baby clarinet. Here's baby clarinet, we played on that Friday. The stage after that, I call it teenager clarinet. I know, just bear with me. So teenager clarinet, we add, it's baby clarinet plus the middle joint. And so when we do that, which I'm hoping to get to probably next week, maybe into this week, it just depends. And we'll just work finger aerobics here. And so what we're doing is we're gradually building up our muscles. We're building up our muscles with our mouth first with the baby clarinet. We're learning how to make noises, and so this is what it should sound like. Take your finger, put it right here. Put your mouth on it till your mouth touches, till your lip touches your mouth. And start blowing. That's the sound you should make. On a keyboard, it's called F sharp. So we do that, and then you're gonna look for this face. We talked about that. I called it the milkshake face. The skin is real smooth right here, corners together, and you just close your mouth over and blow. And so we're gonna practice holding that pitch. We're gonna do some ear games to where we can see if we can sing the pitch and then play it on our clarinet, because we can make different sounds. See, we can make different sounds, but we're listening for this one. And you see my face? How it doesn't move. Now, once we get done with that, we'll start talking about teenager clarinet, but we're gonna do a lot of blowing on our mouthpiece and barrel these next several days, because we're gonna train our mouth muscles. And you're gonna start noticing that these muscles in our face and in our chin and in our lips, they're gonna start to fatigue and feel tired, and you're like, oh, my mouth hurts. So that's part of why we're doing baby clarinet first. We're getting used to it. Also, the clarinet is super awkward, and so we're getting our muscles used to reaching down lower for the clarinet. So that's all there is to it. So I hope you can watch this video. Thanks for following along, and this is just a reference for you to use at home, because we're going to go over all this in class too. So see you next time, guys.